Before we get started today, I just wanted to show you our new Treasury Secretary's fiance. I mean, she is pretty good looking. And look at that smug smile on his face to have that arm candy thanks to that Goldman Sachs status that he has. I should have gone into finance. Okay, so our story today is that Michael Flynn, was the national security advisor to Donald Trump, recently resigned. Now, this is kind of a complicated thing. There's a lot of moving parts, and I took a day to really understand what was going on. So I wanted to explain what happened and then share why it's not a bad thing. So what happened was this. Michael Flynn told the Vice President, Mike Pence, that he did not discuss any possible relieving of the Russian sanctions. He didn't talk about Russia at all. And so using that information, the Vice President told the media in January how, hey, we didn't have any discussions about the sanctions, that Michael Flynn didn't talk about it. Well, it turns out that the CIA has been tapping into Flynn's phone. They say they tap into the discussions of Russian diplomats, but we know that's probably not true. So the CIA tapped into the phones, had transcripts of what was going on, and they illegally fed these transcripts to other officials, including officials that don't even work in the White House anymore, former officials. And of course, these officials, they ran to the Washington Post, which is the CIA mouthpiece. I also think that the Daily Beast is too. And here we have Pence looks bad, and then Michael Flynn has to resign. And I guess the story from his angle is Flynn said he misspoke about the conversations that he actually had. So let's now, and there's a lot of other officials that are involved, and maybe the White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus, was a source of the leak. Maybe he was fed some information. We don't know. But the point of the matter is this, and this is what you have to understand, is that there are bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats working in the CIA and possibly the FBI and the NSA too, that are illegally trying to subvert the presidency. They are trying to take him down, and they're feeding information to a middleman who then feeds the information to the media, which is the opposition party that is also trying to take the presidency down. Okay, so let's understand, unelected bureaucrats working with officials, both active and former, working with the media, all as one team to hurt the elected winner of the 2016 presidential election in the United States. And what had the term that's used to describe unelected bureaucrats with power like this is the deep state. And the deep state are people who seek power not for you, not for the voter, not for the citizen, but themselves and the institution that they work for. The end for them is to have power for the CIA and the CIA alone. The CIA is above the United States. It's above you. It's above Trump. That's how their mode of thinking is. You know, because whenever there is an institution and that institution has a stated goal, and the stated goal is usually to serve the people, protect, and help further the goals of the nation. Those goals are always secondary to the number one goal of self-preservation and self-interest for the institution and those who work for the institution. And in the case of the CIA, which has been given massive amounts of power to spy on people, to kill, to overthrow governments, you can see how bad this can actually get, where now you have the CIA as a competitor to the United States, not working for it, but competing with it. And they often call this state within a state. And that's exactly what we have now. So Donald Trump rightly is asking, why are they doing this? Because you have to understand that you may be red-pilled on what the deep state is, but a lot of citizens, deep state, what's that? And and one really good blog is the Conservative Treehouse, and they connect dots. They connect associations and things like that. And they believe the source of the leaks, of the middleman who was fed information from the CIA, were former Obama officials who kind of put a big fuck you to Donald Trump on their way out. And doesn't help that Obama is moving like 2 miles away from the White House to supposedly set up some kind of parallel government for when he takes over. I mean, is that even legal? I think Trump has to do something about that. And everyone was saying, oh my God, what Flynn did, talking about relieving sanctions, is the most horrible thing. He's in bed with the Russians. He's in bed with Vladimir Putin. That's horrible. Obama would never do that. Oh, wait.
My last election, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. I trust this relationship.
So it turns out that Obama did the very same thing, or worse, than what Michael Flynn did. But no one cares. Why? Because this is all an attack against Trump. They just need to take him down because he conflicts with a lot of forces. He conflicts with various institutions, the media, big Fortune 500 companies, NGOs, and the grandmaster of them all who controlled Obama and Hillary Clinton, Demon George Soros. So you can see that the hypocrisy is so huge that things that Obama did, things that Hillary did, the media and the CIA, the black hats in the CIA don't care. But then if Donald Trump accidentally steps on the shoes of someone, this is a crime and Russia is the cause of it. So you're probably now wondering, well, who exactly are these deep state figures? And one of them is this guy with the egghead. He actually was trying to spoil the election. He got some votes in Utah and other conservative states. Now, he is former CIA, wink, former CIA. There is no such thing as former CIA. If you work for the CIA, anything you publish after that, anything you write or even say has to have the approval of the CIA. I mean, you get knocks on the door from them telling them that, they can't say that. So there's really no such thing as former CIA. There's either active CIA or dead. There is no former. So it's pretty clear that this egghead dude is actively connected to the deep state, to the same people that are spying on Michael Flynn. And the sad part is they're not like James Bond people. These are like, older men with dad bods who wear dad jeans that are so loose in the back that it's like they're saving space to take a dump in it. These aren't like spies that you would think. They aren't like dudes who lift and they're big. Yeah, maybe the soldiers are. The Navy SEALs are. The Army Rangers are. But the deep state guys are geeks. They're just geeks who really put in that 30 years of work and love taking orders, love to squeeze themselves into this hierarchy of power just so they can feel a little important. And you may be wondering, why are they doing this? Why are they going against the will of the people? Donald Trump won fair and square. There has been no evidence linking him to Russia. Why are they doing it? And it's for their own egotistical personal goals of power, to feel important, just to stay feeding at that trough of money, of globalist power and the Soros money, and to feel like they are a powerful being. That's it. Because their actions do not help the United States at all. They don't work for you. You pay them for them to subvert you and subvert your vote. It's like paying taxes for the police in your local police force, and they start giving you tickets for stupid stuff like speeding tickets. They put cameras everywhere. It's like you're paying money for your own tyranny to be overruled by these people who don't care about you. They think the CIA is more treasured, more important than the United States. They don't care about the United States. All they care about is their boy clubs, because they feel power in their rooms and plotting, and they get to spy on anybody, everybody. I mean, the tools that they have are crazy. We have to ask, why do they have this? But we know what happens when a president tries to go against them. We know what happened to JFK, and if you believe that was a lone wolf shooting, man, you have to read up. I mean, there is deep state fingerprints all over that, So JFK went against the deep state. He was killed. He was assassinated by, in my opinion, someone. It was a group, and nothing happened. The reason that nothing happened is because they had full control over the narrative, full control over the media. But now, thankfully, they don't have that. So they're losing it. And now we're seeing how incompetent they are. I mean, they are so incompetent that their activities are now more widely known than the activities of North Korean spies who just assassinated the half-brother of Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il. You have North Korean spies killing people, or we think, and we don't know. We don't know who killed. But in the United States, we have subversion, and we know exactly who it is because it's blared in the Washington Post and the New York Times and CNN. Our spies are so incompetent that we know who is doing it. And it's all over the news too. I mean, the phrase deep state has been used many times. People are now being red-pilled on it because I guarantee you, before today, a lot of people thought deep state, what, is that another Alex Jones conspiracy? And I must say, basically everything that Alex Jones has said is truth. He may be the most honest man in the United States. But the fact is that now their activities are wide in the open. You have blogs that are spilling the beans. I mean, you're supposed to be a spy agency. The CIA has overthrown governments, and there has been no fingerprints back tracing them. It's just basically theory that the CIA did that. But here in the current year, the CIA's actions a day later is getting decoded by blogs run by people who are doing it for fun. I mean, what kind of spy organization is that when 4chan knows what you're doing, knows what you're going to do next? This is the CIA. So therefore, we must conclude that the CIA is doing this or the deep state figures in the deep state are not doing this from a position of strength. They're doing it from a position of weakness. They are crapping their pants that a man who is putting the United States before their institutions are in power. And they are desperately and sloppily, worse than North Korean spies, they are just throwing like piles of turds at stuff and hoping that it hits something. That's how bad it is. I mean, I think I could do a better job if I wanted to subvert Trump. I think I could do a better job than what the CIA is doing. So they are losing. The deep state is losing. This show of force is really weakness. They are desperate. They are that wounded animal that is cornered. And of course, the wounded animal is going to get a couple bites out, but it's still wounded. It's dying. It's dying. And people are awake to it. So even if the deep state wins, what do they win? They win a country that knows who they are and what they are doing. They win a country that does not find the government to be legitimate. They win a country where the people will resist in quiet ways, maybe cheating on their taxes, maybe stocking up on guns, maybe resisting in other ways. It's not going to be a civil war where they're firing at each other. It could be, but you cannot rule over a country where most of the citizens find your rule to be illegitimate. And the actions of the CIA today are making it clear to everyone that that's what is going on, to such an extent that the approval rating of Trump is going up. It's now 55%. I think that's the highest it's been in the past month. I think this is what they call in the CIA blowback, where, oh yeah, we got Flynn down. Oh wait, now there's articles everywhere describing what we're doing, and Donald Trump's approval is going up. Any further acts against Trump will be blamed on us instead of Russia, which we intended it to. They failed. Yeah, Flynn was a martyr. Flynn was a martyr who had to red pill millions of people that the deep state is yet another enemy against the United States. Now, I can't tell you who's going to win this. I can't tell you that Donald Trump is going to win, but I can tell you that we're now fighting an information war. It's not a war of guns. Me hitting submit on a blog or a website or on this video can do more help, can red pill more people than any guns that I can possibly own. So in terms of the information war, which is how the CIA operates, because the way they got Flynn is because they leverage information they have, thanks to the authority they have to spy on people. And that authority, as I showed, to share illegal taps is not a legal thing, but it's information. So if you can get the information out there on what they are doing, and if you can tell people what the deep state is, they already lost, because they can only win when the truth is concealed. That's the only way. Because if people know, they're just going to be like, wait, why should I go along with this? And they're going to find their own way to resist against it. This is why for the longest time, globalists knew you had to manufacture consent. The people had to believe that this was a legitimate rule, a legitimate government. But they're losing the narrative. They're losing the information war to such an extent that people are getting angry at them. And the approval rating, most of the country is on Trump's side. Now, if he gets killed, they're not going to be able to sweep that assassination under the rug like they did with JFK. Now people are going to know where it's coming from. People are not going to give their consent to the people who will rule over them. And this is a big thing. This is the prelude to overthrows of government, the prelude to civil wars. I mean, this is where it goes to if the losing side doesn't accept that they will lose. So where this goes, I don't know, I think this is a great thing. I feel bad for Flynn, but overall, the fact that millions more people are seeing how the government truly works and how desperate the CIA and the deep state is, I think this will come out to be favorable on our side. So I hope you got value from this commentary, and until next time. If you like this video and are concerned about the direction our culture is headed, check out my book, Free Speech Isn't Free. It decodes the agenda of the globalist establishment through an action-packed story of what happened when they tried to shut me down, and it shares tips to prevent you from being shut down as well. I've written over 15 books, but this is by far the most powerful. Other people call it a riveting first-hand story that is extremely well-written and engaging. By far the strongest book Roosh has written to date. Highly recommended. It's a great story told well, and you learn some solid lessons from a guy who has faced the full force of the social justice mob. If you want to fully understand how the system aims to harm you, order your copy of Free Speech Isn't Free today by going to Amazon.com and doing a search on Free Speech Isn't Free, or by clicking the link below. After you read the book, be sure to drop me an email or comment to let me know what you think. Have a good one.